Welcome to the channel. I'm Stacy, and my goal here is to help you to play better and sound better in your worship services. Today I'm going to go over the tones that I had set up for this past Sunday. Our church celebrated 30 years of ministry, and they started in 1995 in a living room with 12 people, and now there's a few more than 12, and it was an honor to be a part of the celebration. We did have a couple of fun things on the stage that were a little bit out of the ordinary. We had one of our worship pastors who had moved to the Midwest to be closer to family. He was able to be there to celebrate with us, as well as a guitar player that had served for a lot of years. He happened to be in town and jumped right in. He's a phenomenal guitar player, and I think I had him panned to the left. And he's slightly behind me on the in-ear mix video, standing next to the drum, kind of, I guess, the aquarium. Anyway, he played great. Greg played great as always, and it was a lot of fun to be there. One thing that was interesting was mixing three guitars is not just adding another guitar, but then balancing how everything else was in the mix. So it was a bit of a challenge, but I feel like I was able to hear everybody in my mix, and then listening back to the recording, it seemed to be a bit balanced, but you check that video out and let me know what you think. So we did a couple of medleys. We kicked off our service with kind of a slideshow, and then we played the beginning of what he's done. Not the beginning. For the beginning of our service, we played, I think it's the bridge or a breakdown from what he's done into a chorus. And then there's like a kind of a tag at the end. And then we go into the bridge for I Speak Jesus into a chorus and let that build. And then we go into the bridge for I Know a Name. And so I covered the low parts for the first two songs, and I tuned my guitar to drop D, so I could hit that low E string, and I'd have it be a low D string and give a little bit of low frequency in the mix. I loved it. I always look for a reason to tune down to drop D. Tune the low string to drop D, and this one worked out perfect. Our first two songs were in D, and then for I Know a Name, I played the high parts on that, and we did it in A. And since we had three guitar players, I played the little walk-up melody line up here on the 14th fret, the B and high E string, just kind of walking that up. And then there is the octave run, and that I played down low, so kind of the higher string octave. I prefer the A and D string octaves, but it didn't fit since there was three of us, so I played it down here, and we just walked up from the 14th fret on the B, and then I'm down 3 frets on the D string. 14 to 15, and I think 17, and then 22, 20, and 19. But anyway, it was a lot of fun, and hearing that all three guitars in the mix was a really cool experience as well. So on the board, same setup as I've been running. So compressor was on with my basic standard settings. I did adjust the carbon, so I have the level at about 11 o'clock, the gain also at about 11 o'clock. And then I turned the tone up a little bit brighter. And then I have that toggle to cut some high end. So the sparkly top end stuff, I don't need that with the Tele. I also don't need it with the Gretsch, so I tend to leave it like that for that guitar as well. But that sounded great. And then on the ODR-1, I've got my drive at 3, spectrum at 3, and level at about 4.5. And then on the back end of More Than Able, which was the song we closed our service out with, we're in build. I think it's a bridge. I could be wrong, but it's a building part, and it gets real big. And I just kicked on the Signa drive, which is a Tube Screamer clone. Gain just below 9 o'clock, level at about 3 o'clock, tone 1230, and it just gave a little bit more oomph to my drive, and maybe a slight bit of volume bump, but I wasn't looking for anything drastic. I just wanted it to elevate a little bit. Also, I used my Match 30 preset. I was looking for something that would give this guitar a bit of fullness, considering that I knew one guy would be playing, I assumed he'd be playing humbuckers. Greg ended up playing a Strat, and so I think that was a good compliment. Sean, the other guitar player that was in from out of town, he played Nags, and that had dual humbuckers. Sounded amazing. So anyway, I've got the Match 30, matchless on one side, AC 30 on the other. And the signal chain was analog chorus, which I used for the swells on the beginning of Same God. And then the effects loop that has the Jet Eternity and Revelation. Then I have a noise gate to kill the hiss coming off that loop. And then we're going into those 2 amps. The Matchstick Channel 1 has the H30 cab, 2x12, and then the AC30 has the 2x12 Bluebell. I forget what I mic'd them with. I tend to use one mic'd with an SM7, one with an SM57, but sometimes they both need one or the other. Let's see. I'll look into it. So the Matchstick Channel 1 has the 7 dynamic, and the Bluebell has the 57. So that seems about right. That Bluebell cab it's got quite a bit of kind of fullness, like a roundness to the tone. And so the 57 kind of pulls the lower ends of those frequencies kind of in a little bit and helps it to cut. So the signal chain goes the analog chorus into the loop, into the noise gate, and then I have those 2 amps, each with their own cabs, and then the simple EQ at the end to bump the holy mid-range. 777 hertz is bumped at 1.5 decibels, and then the low gain is bumped at 1 decibel, just to kind of give it a little bit more low end. I prefer that over pushing the bass on the amps. Those can get a little bit flubby before they feel full. And then I also bump the high gain at 2.5 decibels to give it a crisper top end. So the amps by themselves sound like this. And then with the compressor, I bumped the level on the carbon, kicking that on and off. All right, and then the carbon. And then the ODR-1. And then the Signa drive. It seems each step of each stage of overdrive is doing maybe a little bit of a low-end cut, a little bit more of a focused EQ, and I love it. So especially when I kicked on that Signa drive, I did want it to cut a little better, and that pedal does the tube screamer thing and sounded great. For my wet effects on what he's done, let's see, I started off, I think, raking, and I was using my Snapshot 2. Oh, also I had the ODR-1 on, and then I rolled the volume back quite a bit to get my clean tone. Let me drop that tuning on the E string down to D so I can play it the way I played it on Sunday. All right. And then I go to Snapshot 1, and the last time we went through that, we did it 4 full times, and it's 2 passes per time. On the 4th time, the 2nd pass, we're building it, and sounding like this. It's a lot of fun. So the snapshots for that song that I used, 1 and 2, will sound like this. Snapshot 1, Snapshot 2. So not really a lot of delay in the mix, but a longer trail for both delay and reverb. Right after that one, we're going into the bridge on I Speak Jesus. And just real quick, the snapshot was like this. That's Snapshot 1. That song stayed pretty heavy since that was in the middle of our 3-song medley. And so it sounded like this playing it. A lot of fun. One thing I noticed is I play pretty heavy, and I play, there are rock and roll gauge strings from Stay in Tune Strings, SIT. So the high string is a 9, but the low string is a 46, which is the same as a standard 10 gauge set. But tuning that down to D, it wants to wobble in and out of tune. So hitting it initially with that palm muting that string and then letting it ring out kept it from kind of going a little bit sharp. Coming out of that one, we went into I Know a Name, and we dropped down. Let me try to think of which. I think I used Snapshot 3. Nope, I used Snapshot 2, and then I kicked it to Snapshot 3 when I hit the very last note of that so that it would do that bloom thing. And so, real quick, the snapshots were Snapshot 2, which is where I landed on when we hit the chorus. This is Snapshot 1, not Snapshot 2. There is Snapshot 2. So that's the one I came in on the bridge, and then Snapshot 3. It's got a lot of bloom. So coming into that, I'm on Snapshot 2. I kept all the drives the same, and I just picked lightly. I love how that goes. And then, so I did some swells. Let's see. And then I kicked it down to Snapshot 1 for that octave walk. And it started off with the B string at the 15th fret, the high E at the 12th. Pick those alternating, and then you land on the 14th, and then we go into that octave, and it was like this. I guess we don't walk it down, we just hit it on the 15th fret, and then we start the octave at the 14th fret. And then we go into that cool part, Dead Things Come Alive. I kicked on the Signa drive. And I kept that on for the rest of that song. That one's a lot of fun to play. So I played it pretty high, but like I said, we had 2 other guitar players. One of them played a little bit more in the middle of the neck, and the other on the open chord space. So after that one, let's see, we had another medley, and that one was kind of older 90s and early to mid 2000s worship songs. Try to think. I kept it with just the compressor and the carbon. Let's see. I turned off my delay so that I didn't have repeats. We didn't use a click for this part. And let's see, trying to think of the names of the songs we did. Oh, Blessed Be Your Name. And I just used Snapshot 1 from Same God, which was the following song, and turn off the delay just to have a little bit of something in the mix. After that, we did Same God. No need to change the preset. And for that one, I kicked on the analog chorus and swelled in. I played in the middle of the neck on this one. I used a long decay for that one. So the snapshot I used was my mash, and it's got a pretty high mix, pretty high decay for both delay and reverb, and it was like this. And then coming out of that, I went into my snapshot 1, and it'll sound like this. So just a short bit of decay, and that's when I used what I used for that chorus. So just a pretty clean, as far as clean goes for my rig. And then going into verse 2, let's see, I think I kicked on the ODR-1 and I went into 16th notes. And then it goes from there into another chorus. And for that, I simplified my part and I kind of hung out on the G and B strings and just did my chord changes from there. And that sounded like this. I think I did hit the D string there at the 7th fret to indicate that minor. Otherwise, I would be hitting the high E as well. And I think I wanted to keep it a little bit darker than the brightness of that string. So mostly hanging out on the G and B string. And so that's how that one went. We go into a chorus. The bridge, and then I did some more swelling. And so the snapshot for, let's see, I don't think I used snapshot 2. So snapshot 3, did I swell on that? Yep. I think what I did is I swelled on that mash, which had the extra. And then for the build, as I'm building that part, I swelled in a couple of passes on the mash, and then I went to snapshot 3 and I raked. I do forget sometimes exactly what I did. I'll do it different in my rehearsal, and I probably do it different for each service, just trying to figure out what it is that sounds best. So that was Same God. And then we closed out our service after the message with More Than Able. And for that one, I came in with swells. Again, I used that mash. And I did have only the carbon on as far as in my drive section. The ODR-1 doesn't come on till later. That was snapshot 4, which would be my mash, snapshot 1. And I used that for the chorus line, snapshot 2. And snapshot 3. So I had this up for swells, snapshot 4. I did use a capo on that song on 3. There is an open A-shaped chord that comes in a little bit, and also that pedal tone, the A note at the 3rd fret being a C note, that comes into play for the bridge, as well as the verse 2 section. So the first chorus is where I come in, and I'm just playing that little melodic line. Snapshot 1. And then after that, we're into that second verse section, and I'm just chugging away on that A string. I use Snapshot 2 for the verse and then kick it back to Snapshot 1 for that chorus. It just has a louder repeat and giving that part a little bit more space. So going into the bridge is where I kick on the ODR-1 and I go to the lighter delay and reverb. And then I'm hitting that A string at the 3rd fret with the capo, and then up here on a C shape, I guess it's a C shape ultimately. So if we were playing C up at the 12th fret, and it sounds like this. We run through that a few times, and then it hangs out just on the D string at the 14th and then the 15th fret, and that'll sound like this going into it. And that's how we closed out the service. It was a great Sunday, and it was an honor to be a part of it. All right, I hope you found this one helpful. If you did, subscribe and hit that like button for good measure. If you need song resources, you'll find them at links in the description box below. There's also a link down there with a handful of downloads free for you as well. All right, I hope you have a great week, and I'll see you in the next one.